My name's Joey. I'm actually a realtor in Central Florida. And my cousin here, Nigel Wingate, is a realtor as well in New York. And we are both here coming together, starting this first podcast, starting our new channel called Coast to Coast Cousins, where we will be sharing our views of living styles between Florida versus New York. So, to start off today's topic, Nigel's got some questions that he's going to ask me, and we're going to kind of dive into those questions. And yeah, let's start off, bro. What do you got for me? What's the
Yeah,
first question?
let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All
So,
right.
Mr. Joey, if you had to convince somebody to move tomorrow, what's your best pitch?
My
Why
best
should
pitch,
somebody choose your state of Florida?
the best pitch I could give someone in terms of moving to Florida is the lifestyle you have here. You got beautiful weather. Number two is in Central Florida, it's the cost of living. It's the amount you get for the dollar for property. Some properties here you get a lot of house for the money. You get a lot of sometimes it depends on the area, but sometimes you get good yard space as well. But
Mm,
in terms of what you can get for the money, that's where it's at here. So it's a whole numbers thing. So if you're coming from New York and you're looking for like a 5 bedroom house, for example, you could find a 5 bedroom. Like I just toured one today, and it was $375,000 for a five. It was like it could go up to a 6 bedroom for like
mm.
400 grand, but for basic 365, looking at a like a four, two and a half. Um, but you could bring it up to 5 to 6 bedrooms. But you're looking in that price tag of 360 to 400, right? Just for one that I toured, right? Um, I would say in New York, right, Nigel? If you found a house like that, it's probably going to be way much higher, right, on cost in New York.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. The prices in Florida are the average home is significantly cheaper than what you're looking at in New York.
Mm-hmm.
In the particular area that I work in, Long Island, Nassau County, Suffolk County, we're seeing average home prices in a lot of neighborhoods pushing over $800,000. Homes are listed 750, going $100,000 over asking. So yeah, yeah, super, super expensive, but it's much nicer than Florida. So I understand why, you know, I understand why the prices are higher. Everybody wants to be in New York, nobody wants to be in Florida. So
Define nicer than Florida.
yeah, I mean,
What's your pitch? What are you going to pitch to me to make me want to move to New York?
everybody knows that we're number one. Everybody knows that New York's number one. That's why I wear my Knicks hat today because we're world champions.
Oh, yeah, you
So
guys won the world championship, and now you're mad,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, we're the champions. We're the champions over here. So um, when it comes to my pitch, how I would convince somebody to move to New York, I would say, it comes down to just the lifestyle, right? Like if you want to be successful in whatever career field that you're in, whether it's finance, whether it's acting, whether it's real estate, all the opportunities are here, and you can do everything here from whether you want to ski, whether you want to go to the beach. I think there's just so much to offer in New York as opposed to Florida, you know. That's
Mhm.
why I think New York's a better state, you know. Do you agree with me?
I
You
have
think
to,
so?
I have to, I have to agree with you that lifestyle is definitely an important aspect to whoever the buyer is looking to want to buy into it. There has
Hmm.
to be the lifestyle. What type of lifestyle are you looking for? Obviously, Florida gives you more of that vacation vibe where you are living in just warm weather all year round. Don't get me wrong, it does get pretty damn cold here in Orlando. We just had a freeze not too long ago. All my shrubs in my yard died. So
Wow, that's
living
crazy.
proof that it can get pretty cold here. Uh, but other than that, yes, we don't get snow. You can't ski here, obviously, but we do have things like you can go ice skating. They do have events where they'll do like fake snow or snow tubing, stuff like that. That was pretty cool. I actually went to an event not too long ago in Tampa where they had a little Christmas thing. I forget the name of it, but
Nice.
when I get the name of it, I'll shoot it your way. But um, I could definitely agree with you that New York definitely has a more broader kind of like in terms of things you can do there. There's just
Yeah.
more. I think you could do everything there, right? If you want all the four seasons, I mean, New York has that. I mean, if you want to go skiing, you can do that. If you want to go to the
Hmm.
beach, yeah, you got a bit of a drive. It may not be as beautiful as our Florida beaches,
Oh,
right? You know, and it might not be as clear waters as our
taking
beach.
taking jabs at us.
But and it's also it's the type of living you get in Orlando as well is you're gonna see a lot of communities that have resort style type lifestyle. So for
Yeah.
example, in mine, we have a pool, we have a clubhouse, we have a restaurant, we have a golf course out here, and a bunch of other communities I've seen. You could have even like massage, you could have hair, hair salon, nails, all that stuff
Yeah.
in a community. I mean, there's really no limitations to the type of vacation vibe living you can get here in living in Florida, or mainly like Central Florida per
Yeah.
se. More in South Florida, I would say. I mean, I grew up in Miami. We didn't really have a lot of communities that had a lot of that resort style type like amenities type thing. That was
Hmm.
more of a when you start coming up past West Palm up, you start seeing those type of lifestyle type communities.
Yeah.
Um, so I will say in Central Florida, that has been, at least for me, a big selling point for a lot of buyers is they're buying into a lifestyle. You're buying into the lifestyle of whatever that lifestyle is, whether you want to be at the beach or is it, do you want to live in a community that has resort style type amenities where you don't have to leave your house? You don't have
Right.
to leave your community. Everything you want to do is right there. We
Hmm.
have that here in Orlando. And not saying there's not a lot to do here. I mean, we have Disney World. You guys don't have Disney World. We got Universal Studios. You
Wait
guys
a
don't have
minute.
Universal.
We got Six Flags. Okay. We got
I
Six
mean,
Flags. We
six.
got
I mean,
Dorney Park not far away in Pennsylvania.
okay.
We've got some stuff to do here too.
Yeah, yeah.
We got
I
some
mean,
good cool water park. We got
we
Six
got
Flags.
Busch
We got something
Gardens.
to
We
do.
got Busch Gardens, we got SeaWorld. I mean, if you want to go to Six Flags, I mean, you've got a bit of a drive to Georgia, but there is a Six Flags in Georgia. It's not a bad
Mhm.
drive. At least in the area I live in, Davenport, you're kind of in the middle. You're kind
Yeah.
of like you got a bit of a drive to places here, but you're in a good kind of medium area where your drives aren't going to be like end of the world. But like I could go to Tampa if I want to go to Tampa, and it's not the end of the world. If I want to
Yeah.
go to Ocala, I can go to Ocala. If I want to go to Jacksonville, I can go to Jacksonville. If I want to take a
Mhm.
trip to Georgia, I mean, I could do that as well. I mean, it's not the end of the world type drive, but it's doable compared to driving 12 hours from Miami. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
I gotta say, like, I feel like to answer this question, truthfully to the listener who's listening to this video or who's trying to understand, why would you move to Orlando versus New York or Florida versus New York per se? It all depends on the lifestyle. It all depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Um, so I know my cousin talks about she loves the city, right? She loves the city life, and she's always talked about New York, right?
Hmm.
And I can understand that. I mean, I mean, there's city life here, but it ain't New York City life. It's
No,
definitely not that.
for
No, no,
sure.
no. We definitely don't have your prices. We don't have that type of lifestyle here. But the lifestyle here is more of I call it vacation vibe
Right.
type of living. So. Um,
Yeah. I
Well, yeah,
agree.
that would be my pitch, man. Like you said, it's all about for me, it's lifestyle and what you're looking for. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think you hit it right on the nose. I like to joke around a lot. We always are pulling each other's leg when it comes to which state is better. I'm always saying New York is better. You're always saying Florida is better. But, all the points that you just touched on, I agree 100%. Florida is a great state. There are many pros that it has in comparison to New York, particularly with the beaches. You guys have very beautiful beaches. We have great beaches up here. When you're looking at Fire Islands, the Hamptons, we do have nice beaches here as well, but it's not going to compare to the beaches that you have down there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into the next question that
Okay.
we've got lined up. So when it comes to which state overall would you say you believe has the better overall lifestyle? Which one would you say?
I'm going to say Florida, and this
Okay.
is my reason why. When it comes to Florida, one of the things that are beneficial, right, is everyday living. I mean, it's always warm, it's always hot, and don't get me wrong, our summers can get pretty damn hot. But when you're talking about the winter time, when it's in the 60s to 70s all day around, and it's beautiful to be outside. I mean, you could be running around, you could be at Disney World, walking around when it's beautiful outside, not during the summer, guys, but when you're walking around during the winter and springtime, you can actually enjoy yourself and not sweat your butt off. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And to me, that holds a lot of value because just to give a little reference as to why I say this, I have a cousin of mine named Carlos who moved from Jersey. And one of his main reasons of leaving Jersey was he didn't like how a lot of the times you couldn't leave your house. When it snowed bad, you're stuck at the house. When it's
Yeah.
freezing outside, you don't want to be outside. You can't really do any outdoor activities. You're kind of confined to your home. Not saying you can't go out and do anything, but you're limited on what you're able to do.
Yeah.
In Florida, if you want to go to the beach tomorrow, you can go to the beach. There's no snow stopping you. There's no snow that's going to be on the road that's going to keep you from getting there. I think one of the only deterrents we'll get here is hurricanes every now and then, where you got to stay home. But other than that, I think to me that's a big sell point for people who want to live in Florida. It's really the lifestyle of you can live that vacation life every day. I mean, there's
Yeah.
if you want to go out and enjoy yourself, you can do that every day if you want to. I feel like in New York, it's very busy, and at the same time, you
Take it
guys
easy,
have
man.
this.
Take it easy. Don't be getting on my state over here, okay?
I mean, I'm not saying you can't enjoy life in New York as well. I'm just saying from just listening to one person give me their perspective of living in Jersey, right? He mentioned a lot of the times he was stuck at home, couldn't go out because it was too cold out, and it's difficult when you got to deal with all the sweaters and getting the kids all dressed up and all the stuff you got to pack, and that it could become a very challenging outing. And he says living in Florida so far, I mean, if they want to go to Disney World tomorrow, they can go do Disney World. They want to go to the beach, they can go do that. If they want to go to the store and run an errand real quick, they can do that. There's nothing stopping them. Not saying you won't encounter that in New York. You definitely probably have those seasons where you can do whatever you want. But I do know when it gets cold over there and it's snowing, I'm pretty sure it's more difficult to just go out and do stuff, right? So um, I don't know if you agree with me or if you disagree. I would love to hear your input, given that you live in New York.
Yeah.
Not saying New York's a bad state. I mean, I've visited plenty of times and I've loved it myself. I mean, would I live there? No, it's a little too busy for me, but it does have its beauty that makes you want to visit every now and then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to hear your version of why you think New York is better than Florida. All
I'll
right,
just
before we got
concur.
really interrupted by Zoom, um, I'm just going to throw out a point that sure, Florida does have its pluses to me, in my eyes, right? Why I would consider Florida better than New York. But to me, it depends on the person and it depends on the buyer or the seller or whoever it is who's trying to get into that lifestyle and what is they care about and what are the things they value. So someone could value the subway type life living in the city in New York. There are some people that value that. There's some people who have moved here and they come to the conclusion that don't get me wrong, I love Florida and I love the lifestyle here, but New York is more my style. It's more I like the busy life. I like taking the subway. I don't like driving everywhere because in Florida you got to drive everywhere. That's just how it is. We don't have
Really?
subway.
It's the first time I'm
Yeah.
ever hearing this. And my entire
So
life of hearing you, I've never known that you prefer the lifestyle of New York. Never knew that.
yeah, no, no. Trust me. I've had people tell me straight up. I have actually people that moved to Providence, for example. We have some people that moved here. And one of my neighbors, he moved back over to Maryland, for
Hmm.
example, because He said that he likes the busier lifestyle. That he
Yeah.
came here and he likes it, but he doesn't like driving everywhere. He misses the busyness, um, and he misses kind of a little bit of the lifestyle of the pieces that he had up in Maryland. So he ended up going moving back there. Not saying that that's going to happen to everybody, right? But I feel like Florida and New York both have their type of lifestyles that are a value of certain people. And if I love Florida and I want to live in Florida, you may have a different opinion. You may say I value New York more than the characteristics of New York versus Florida. I like New York better. And there's no right or wrong answer, really. Um,
Yeah.
but to each person their own. My opinion is I think Florida's better. That's just me because I prefer to live that lifestyle of Florida. So before people attack me in the comments and say he's a New York hater, I am not a New York hater.
I
I
think you are.
definitely love New York and its characteristics. I do love jumping on the subway instead of driving. I feel like that's definitely something really cool because we don't have that down here. Um, I could say I do value being able to see snow because I don't get to see snow at all down here. I don't like shoveling it, which I had to do one time. That was not fun. I do
Mhm.
enjoy snowboarding. I love that. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I will say that Florida has its pluses and New York has its pluses as well. So each their own. Like I can respect each, right? But I
Yeah.
will stick to my guns and say that if you ask me which I prefer to live, it's always going to be Florida. So because to
Mm.
me, there's nothing like Florida.
Yeah.
And that's a true statement. You're not going to live anywhere else that's going to give you the same type of feel that you feel in Florida. Um, I would say maybe other than Hawaii, maybe.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hawaii is beautiful. I love Hawaii. I used to dream of
Me-
living there. It used to be like a
Makes me
fantasy of
go,
mine, but
yeah.
yep, I'm here in New York for good. For good. For the long haul. So Florida for you, huh? Florida's the state that has the better overall lifestyle for you.
For
Okay.
me, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can definitely I can respect that. I think Florida has great lifestyle. I think it's I've been down there many times. Going to Disney, going to Miami several times. I've gone there for the tourist experience. I've gone there to visit family. And there's a lot to offer. And I've lived the Southern lifestyle before. I've spent time living in North Carolina for a short time, and I got adapted to kind of the slower lifestyle pace, which was cool. It's a big adjustment being someone from New York, but over time, I found myself really craving the energy that New York has to offer. So for me, I would say that New York has the better overall lifestyle, just because, for one, I'm not really that big of a heat person. Yeah, and I'm not talking about your Miami Heat, because we always battle. Joey's a major Heat fan. I'm a Knicks fan. But
Let's
I'm
go
talking
Heat.
about I'm talking about the heat, literally. The summers I think in Florida could be a little bit too brutal for me sometimes.
Hmm.
But the heat in New York is, I mean, just last week up here it was, pushing 100 degrees. So when we get those heat waves in the summer, it's killer. So it definitely does get hot. But I do appreciate the breaks that we get with the different seasons. The
Yep.
fall like cools off. We can wear hoodies, we can wear sweatpants, and it's comfortable. And we have sort of like the fall foliage where you can see all the different colors and everything. And
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
I also love the winter time. I love, as I've picked up a hobby of skiing, I've grown to appreciate the winter time more and more. I know you like to snowboard. We definitely got to make a trip. We got to hit up
Yeah,
Colorado or
yeah,
something
yeah,
one of
yeah.
these days so we could go make some
Yeah.
shreds. But yeah, I love being able to take a short drive, about a 2 hour drive up to Vermont. Well, it's longer than that. It's about 4 hours. But, take a drive up to Vermont. You could hit up Jersey. You could have Pennsylvania. You can go hit all these mountains and ski. You can do snow tubing, snowmobiling. So I just kind of like
Mhm.
that diversity. And I feel like in New York, there's a lot of different things you can do. The summertime, you have the beach lifestyle. You can go upstate. You could do hiking. We have some of the most beautiful nature reserves in the country. When it comes to places for hiking, rafting. So there's a lot of diversity. And then also just the food, right? We have so much food. Um, there's so much entertainment in the city. So for me, I would say that's why I like New York. But sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of crave the slower lifestyle because I'm really a driver. I always want to be on the go. I can't
Yeah,
sit still. But I could appreciate the lifestyle of Florida. Sometimes when I go down there, it feels nice to be able to slow down. And I know that that's what a lot of people who are watching this, people who want to move from New York to Florida, I know that that's what a lot of people are craving, that slower
yeah.
lifestyle, um, and those types of things. So my answer is New York. So with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's jump into the next question that I've got for you, Mr. Joey, which is going
Okay.
to be which state, New York or Florida, do you believe gives you more for your money in terms of home prices, taxes, everyday expenses, value? You can go into all those different types of elements. What are your thoughts?
I think the easy one to that one's going to be Florida, 100%. I'm not going to say Miami because Miami's getting atrocious in terms of cost of living. I lived it. I watched my expenses triple, and that was one of the big reasons why I moved to Central Florida. It was because number one, the homeowners insurance was a joke compared to what it was in Miami.
Mm,
Just to give a little bit of like context of what I'm saying, because some people might say he's exaggerating. No, I was paying like $500 a month for homeowners insurance, and when I moved to Orlando, I was paying like $70 a month. So when you're seeing a big jump of expense, right? You're going from like starting in like the threes, right? When I first like started living in Miami, and it jumped up all the way to 500 there. Property tax was the same thing. Property tax was costing me even more, and I had a
yeah,
townhouse, right? I had a townhouse, guys. It was a four, maybe two and a half bath house townhouse.
insane.
Okay, and I lived right next to a highway, and let me tell you, the traffic was absurd. I was paying for an HOA fee that had really nothing. I had a pool that was disgusting, not well maintained at all, and yet I was paying like almost $200 a month. And mind you, when I moved to Orlando, my HOA fee here quarterly is $400. So to some people listening to this, they're going to say $400 is a lot of money. When you break it down by quarter, it's actually only $143 a month, which is not bad. And when you talk about what my community has compared to what I had in Miami, I have like a pool. Like I said, I mentioned in the beginning of this video, there's just a lot of amenities this community has that I feel like I'm getting my money's worth for that I didn't get in Miami. And what else can I say? My property taxes were a bit lower here. I'm not going to say property tax are like, I'm not going to say it's like a big difference here in Central Florida. You're still going to pay property taxes. It depends on the area that you pick to move to. Like I'm in Davenport. If you're going more central Orange County, those type areas, like you're going to see more of an increase on property taxes. Definitely, right? Now, the talk right now is apparently, guys, don't quote unquote don't attack me on this, but apparently there is a potential bill that has been brought up with what's it called, bringing up our homestead exemption up from 50 all the way up to 250,000. So what does that mean? That means for Homestead Exemption Act, for those who own a house here in Florida, you can get up to $250,000 exemption off your property taxes. So if the value of your home is, $300,000, now you only have to pay $50,000 of that in taxes, right? So it's definitely going to be a big game changer potentially in Florida if that passes. I'm not sure the details of the budget and where the money's going to get pulled from, or um, police and local services, not getting funded and stuff like that. There's been this whole big debate, but I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole other subject itself.
Yeah.
Um, that is something that, could be a big driving force for people who are looking to save money. But at the same time, until we get more details as what that potentially means for stuff like, schools and all that stuff, I don't think we can I can say confidently that it's a big plus because I, for one, have no idea what that means. I think it has its benefits for sure. You're going to pay less on property tax for sure, potentially in the next couple of years in Florida. Property taxes could be potentially abolished. I'm not going to say entirely. This depends on the value of your home, but that is a definitely a sell point for some people. But I will say, in terms of the value of homes, so my house, for example, I mean, if you would have tried buying my kind of house that I have now in Davenport, in Miami, I was probably looking close to like maybe 700, 800K or something like that, maybe even in the 600s for my house. It's I got my house for 400,
Hmm.
right? For some people, they may say, "Oh, that's still a little bit pricey," right? Because it depends on everyone's budget, right? My budget at the time was like up to 500, right? And I got into a house that's around 400. Um, but for the price that I got the dream backyard that I always wanted. I got the corner lot that I always wanted. I got the big walk-in closet I always wanted. I got a beautiful living room space that's way bigger than the one I had in my townhouse. My kids run around. I have a loft upstairs, a good sized loft that my kids play around in as well. So I have to say, right, because I mean, I've been doing real estate for a couple months now, and I've gone around the neighborhoods. I mean, I've gone around Davenport, I've been around Winter Park, I've gone around St. Cloud. I mean, I've been around guys, and I've seen all the like. I'm not gonna say every property out there, but I've seen a lot of properties, and I've seen the value you could get if I mean, I'm actually posting up a video potentially in the next couple of days on a house that I visited. It's called the Amolite from the Richmond builder. That house that I saw was beautiful. And when he told me the starting price for that house was only 365,000, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" For this house that has like 6 bedrooms in it, the model house, he's like, "Yeah, you're probably looking at 450
Wow, it's
or like,
insane.
I'm like, bro, for 3,000 square feet, I'm like, that's a pretty like sweet deal. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say, don't get me wrong, guys, prices have gone up in Florida. I'm not gonna joke and say that prices have not gone up. They have gone up. And I'm not gonna say that $450,000 is cheap. It depends on the buyer and what your budget is, right? But for value of what you will find in Florida versus what you'll probably find in New York, you're gonna get more property for the money. That's just a fact. Don't get me wrong, you can find some beautiful houses in New York. You can find some beautiful houses in Florida too, right? But you're going to pay the price in Florida if you really want a
No
mansion or
way.
whatever.
New
Don't
York
pay
is
the
the
price for that. Don't think you're going to buy a mansion for
better
nothing.
value,
You're definitely going to
period.
buy mansions for millions of dollars here. But if you're looking for a big family home and you don't want to spend close to $1 million, Florida is definitely a good option to
Yeah.
consider. So, I mean, I don't know if you could agree with me, Nigel, but I could be honest about that. I mean, I could be honest and say as well that were prices in Central Florida cheaper these 2 or 3 years ago? Yes, I could definitely admit to that. I could also say that is it going to continue going up? With the demand the way it's been, yes, it's definitely going to go up, probably
Yeah.
within over time. By how much, I don't know. But definitely properties here are appreciating, gaining value as infrastructure, businesses, restaurants, and all that are being built everywhere. New
Yeah.
construction is huge here. And
It is.
development in these outskirt towns in Orlando are booming, like Davenport, Haines City. I mean, dude, if you can buy into a house here now while the prices are still affordable, I mean, it's also investment where you're buying into a $300,000 house and essentially may see that house go up to about 400,000 maybe in the next 5 or 6 years, maybe. I can't tell you for fact, but I can tell you for certain these areas are going to develop and these houses will appreciate over time, depending
Yeah.
on the area, of course. Not every area is going to be perfect, but I can't say for certain that for me, I feel Florida has more value for the type of properties you will find. Um, that's my take. I mean, I've never gone around New York. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a realtor in New York, so I can't speak for Nigel, right? He's got the experience, so he'll be able to give some light as to what his opinion is on the matter, right? I'm curious to know what you feel. Do you think New York has more value for property, or are you actually going to give me the point on this one and then say or give in and say Florida's the number one?
Yeah, 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 for sure. So I think, there's different layers that we can look at, right? So value is a subjective thing, right? So when I look at value, and I'm always joking around, pulling your leg and everything, but in all seriousness, I do think that in terms of from a pure value perspective of how what you're getting for your money in Florida, like in terms of the types of finishes that you're looking at getting for your dollar, the amount of square footage that you're getting in your home, your lot size, um, overall condition of the home, I think for sure in Florida you're getting so much more bang for your buck. It blows my mind that I see properties, down in your area selling for 400,000, 500,000, that have luxury finishes, brand new constructions, you know, adequate square footage. You're getting a big lot. Where up here, I have a co-op that I'm selling in Forest Hills right now that is about 850 square feet. Um, and we're selling it for just over $300,000, and it's a one bedroom. It's in a
Insane.
yeah. Yeah. So it just goes to show you, and for that particular co-op, it just happens to be in a very prominent area, very convenient for people. So that's kind of the allure there. And that's really what people consider to be value in New York is the location. So people ascribe value more so to the location versus what you're actually getting for the house.
Right.
So, I would say right now for sure, in terms of the type of house you're getting way more value, for sure. Over the long term, I think whether you're in Florida, whether you're in New York, you want to get in the game. You want to buy a house because over time, the house value is just going to continue to appreciate. I think in New York, there's more opportunity in terms of if you're looking from an equity standpoint. I think if you get into a home now, you're going to look at your equity appreciate significantly over the next few years just because
Yep.
New York is a very constrained area. There's not as much space to build as there is in Central Florida. So we don't have as much new construction going on as you do. So it's a supply demand thing, right? As there's less supply, it's going to increase the value of the people who do have the supply, who do have the homes. Um, so I think from a long-term perspective, the equity of the homes in New York, there's big value there, but it's so expensive for people to buy here. If you're and and I just want to make another point. I think that over time in Florida, new construction is not going to go on forever and ever and ever. So
Yeah.
eventually, they might start running out of space. So it's important to get in right now, while there's
Yep.
plenty of space to build, right? You can get in before the prices get too crazy. But in New
Yep.
York, there's just a big problem right now with affordability. There are so many people who make six-figure salaries up here who are making close to $300,000 as a family who are struggling to get into entry-level homes, just because there's such a low amount of supply and it's just so competitive. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But I think in terms of what you're actually getting for your money, to answer that question, I think you're getting more bang for your buck in Florida if you're looking from a pure home standpoint, what you're getting, the finishes, the space, and all of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
A
So that's
hundred percent, man. 100% what you said. You hit it right on the money. I mean,
yeah.
I toured a house today. It was a four-bedroom, two and a half bath at about 1,800 square feet. You want to know how much the price was in that home?
How much?
It was around $340,000.
That's
Okay,
insane.
you told me 800 square feet you had, right? For the listing you just put up,
How many square feet
for
was that house?
1,800, so
18.
1,800 square feet.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is a four-bedroom, two and a half bath. You have a cover lanai. You're talking. You got obviously you got a great space, primary room. You've got a good sized family living space. I mean, a corner pantry, uh, good walk-in shower, good space shower. Shower is bigger than mine, to be honest. That's one of the cons in my house right now, right? It just depends on what you get, right? And it's also the finishes. The builder that I saw, there's Casa Fresca builder. Their finishes are pretty nice in the homes. They do a little bit of little touches that makes the home feel a little bit luxurious, right? They're a little bit on the more expensive side as well. You may be like, "There's no way that's more expensive." That's actually still like ridiculous, right? But I will say that for sure you can definitely find some really nice homes here for the money. So I gotta agree with you. I think Florida gets the win on this one.
I think
Um,
so.
but I will agree with you on location. I feel that yes, when you buy a house, and this just goes for anyone, whether you're from New York or whether you're from Florida, and when you're buying a house, one of the biggest mistakes I see people do is they fall in love with a house and that's it. There's more to a house than the house. There's the area that it's around. There's the community it's that you're living in. What does that community offer you? Right? What are the amenities? What are you paying on HOA? What are you paying on CDD fees? And don't even get me started on just the community. What about the overall area? What do you have in the surroundings to do? Where's your supermarket? Where's your hospital? Where's
Yeah.
your local school for your kids if they need to go to school? You know what I mean? Where is your commute to work looking like? Because not everyone's working remote jobs anymore, right? So those are just little things that I see a lot of buyers make mistakes on. Is sometimes they feel that when they move here, right, they fall in love with these new construction homes. They find one home in particular they love, and they feel like it's only located in one place. So one thing I'm going to point out is what's amazing here is that new build construction, these builders build in multiple areas. So that one house you fall in love with could be in multiple communities, multiple different areas. We're talking like Davenport, Haines City, St. Cloud. I mean, the list can go on. You can find one house in 4 to 3 different locations. It just depends on the builder and how big they are in the area in Central Florida. So that's just one thing that I will say that location is very important. It's not all about the house. For some people, they buy into the area more than just the house. The house is just a stepping stone for some people, and an important one, of course. But I feel that I do see the mistake often that people forget that you also really need to do your research, and you need to buy into the area as well. It's not just the house, and I feel like that is a big mistake that people make when they move here.
Yeah.
It's make sure you do your research, make sure you value all the things that come with the house, but also the area that it comes with and the community and it's I mean it's a whole package thing. So yeah, so most definitely, man. I don't know if you got another question for me, but we're definitely going in hot on these questions.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. So we're gonna let's push it to this question right here. All right, so this is gonna be our final question. All
Okay.
right, gonna be our final one. So if you could live, okay, actually this, because we already touched on that last question actually. So who do you think should actually move and who shouldn't?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, yeah, because I feel like some of
So
these other questions we kind of already touched on. So I feel like
do
that's a
you
good
want
one
to
to
go on
wrap
this
it up.
one first? Do you want me to go first?
I think I'll start on this one. I think I'll start on this
All right.
one. So I think when it comes to moving, I think um, there's a lot of people moving between our two states. There's a lot of people who are leaving New York, heading down to Florida. And, I think that the main thing is going to be this. If you're somebody who's in New York right now, um, you're getting close to retiring, you are tired of the grind, the hustle and bustle of every single day, and you're just tired of trying to keep up with the cost of living up here, and you feel like the cost of living is just too overwhelming for you, and you are looking for a place with nice weather. You're looking for a place where you can cash out on your equity from your New York home, and you want to take that equity and apply it into a home in Florida, then I think that you are somebody who should seriously consider making that move from New York to Florida, especially if you're in a position where you're about to retire, and you don't feel comfortable financially. You feel like your savings aren't where they need to be, and you just want to relax. You want a slower lifestyle. I think if that's you, and you've always wanted to make the move to Florida, then I think that it's something that you should consider. If you're somebody who you're comfortable with paying a mortgage or your house is paid off and you can cover the taxes comfortably and you can maintain the other expenses that we have up here in New York, then
Mhm.
maybe you don't need to move, But I think if you're really struggling, you still have mortgage to pay off and there's really no end in sight, and you just don't like the cold weather, you like the warm weather, I think that you're somebody who should move for sure.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I think.
So what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna give you 4 points. And this is for any person here that's thinking about moving. I'm gonna ask you 4 questions, simple questions. Number one, why are you considering on moving? Is it a want or a need? Do you just want to move to Florida or New York, right? Or is it a necessity for you? Is there a lifestyle that you're tired of living and you need that change of pace, right? You have to answer that question, number one, right?
Yeah,
And number
100%.
two, and then number two is going to be budget. I mean, how much can you afford? That's number one. You need to start thinking of the question of what is my budget? What can I qualify for, right? And then, and the other thing is mortgage. How much, forget about the budget of how much you can afford. Forget about that for a second. Start thinking to yourself, how much do you want to pay on a mortgage per month, right? What do you feel comfortable paying per month? Because a lot of the times people tell me, oh, I want to pay the most up to $3,000 a month. Okay,
Yeah.
that's grand, right? But when you're making that payment, it sucks. Let's just put the nail on top of the haystack. It's very easy to say you want to pay something and then you end up paying it and you start thinking differently. So you have to think bigger than that. What do you actually feel comfortable paying? Forget about how much you can afford. Think about what you feel comfortable paying. So that's a question number two: budget and what is it that you're comfortable to pay. And then number three for me is what type of lifestyle are you looking for? Is the lifestyle you're living now not to your standards, or is it that you want something different? I mean, sometimes people, they want to change a pace, like you said. They're tired of the fast, busy life and they want to retire. They want to just relax. They want that beautiful Florida beach where they can just sit down any day of the week and just, lay out, pay down a house in cash, have no more mortgage. Like that's also a big a big thing as well is that lifestyle. And then I'm going to say for the fourth and final thing is going to be, oh man, it's just going to be what your values are as a person. I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
your values, in terms of your family as well. Because typically when you move, for the most part, I'm not gonna say everybody has kids and is married, whatever. You do have your single fellows, right? But there's always value, whether you're single, married, or have kids. There's value. It can't just be about yourself. There has to be value for those who are following that path with you. Because typically when you have a family, right? Like me, I'm a husband. My wife, I have to make sure that this lifestyle, like when we left Miami, that this lifestyle was okay for her, right? I wasn't going to force her to move somewhere where she wasn't at 100% comfort with, like I was. So, that's also a thing. What is your values as a family? Forget about lifestyle for a second and start thinking about the values that your family considers important, right?
Yeah.
Sure, you can go chase that lifestyle that you want so badly, but what values do you currently have where you live now? And will you have those same values when you move? You need to think about those things. For one, family. A lot of the times, I'm not going to say all the time, but typically for me, in my experience, when I left Miami, my whole family was there. I had to deal with having two boys on my own with my wife. We didn't have much date nights. We lost the value of being able to have date nights and be able to be out there living life. And before people attack me in the comments and say, you could just hire a babysitter. Do you know how much babysitters cost?
Yeah, it's
Do you
insane. It's
think
insane.
average middle income family can afford a mortgage, car payments, insurance, all those things on top of like $600 to $1,000 a month for childcare? It's insane. So these are the type of things that you have to think about. So for me, the like if you can answer all of those four questions, so if you can answer the value and say like I see value in Florida because we're going to have all the right things that we need there versus New York, or you want to go to New York because the values there are more than what you have here, then you're making the right choice. But more importantly, it's just like I said, if you can answer those four questions without hesitating, yeah, you know what you want. You've got the money to make it happen, and it just makes financial sense as well. Don't make an irresponsible decision, guys. Definitely make sure your decision has some responsibility in it because
Yeah.
it's when you're talking about a change of lifestyle from New York versus Florida, you are talking about a major lifestyle change. We're not talking about you moving from Long Island to Queens
Hmm.
or from Miami, Florida to Orlando. We're talking about you're changing. So you're changing a completely different. You're going from one side of the U.S. to a different side of the U.S. I mean,
Yeah.
we're more south. I'm not gonna say we're on the other side of the coast, but you get what I'm trying to
No,
say
it's
here.
far. It's a far.
And
It's a far trip. You gotta think about
yeah,
your family too. Like, who do you
there's a
know?
lot of there's a lot of moving pieces that change. So make sure whatever moving pieces are moving for you, if you're considering making a move, make sure those pieces when they move that they're going to move to the right places that you value. So that's just the four things that I wanted to put in there that I think are important. I'm not going to say there's any sort of person that this aligns with. It just depends on the person. It depends on the situation, of course, too. Um, but yeah, I do feel like retirement is definitely a big one here. A lot of people I know say we're coming to Florida because we want to retire. We're going
Yeah.
to take our money and buy a house in cash and just not pay a mortgage. Um, there's a lot of value in that, man.
Yeah, there
Mortgage is
is.
definitely one of the biggest expenses you will pay in your lifetime. Um, but other than that, what are your feelings on that take?
No, I think it's I think you hit it right on the nose. I think those are all very important questions that you want to ask yourself. Anytime you're making a move, and that's what we're here to do, is to help you through that process. This is one of the
Yep,
biggest life transitions decisions that you're ever going to make. So you got to really think through everything. You want to think through do you want the lifestyle? You have to think through, does it make sense financially? And also think about who you know in the area, right? Like, are you leaving all of your family? Are you leaving all of your friends? Are you willing to deal with being away from all those people? You
yep,
have to consider those things. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe you don't want to leave certain people. Maybe your parents live in New York. Are you willing to
yeah,
move away from them? You have to ask yourself those questions. Write down all the pros and cons, go
yep,
through it with your family.
yep.
If you are married and have kids, weigh out all
Yeah,
the
it's a
pros and
big
cons for sure.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So I
big
agree.
when kids are involved. And I'm just gonna say here, I'm a Central Florida real estate agent, and I will say it. I know I mentioned mortgage, but when you're moving to Central Florida, you need to consider more than just the mortgage. You need to consider property taxes. You need to consider the homeowner's insurance, and then the biggest thing is HOA and CDD fees. A lot of our new construction communities here will have those fees because these communities will have amenities, and these new communities are up and coming. So you will have to pay CDD fees. I don't pay one in mine. We do have some that don't, but it's definitely an expense you have to take into account. And I will say that is one of the cons of moving to Central Florida is you will have those fees for the most part. I'm not saying it's impossible to buy a house without any of those fees. You can definitely find a house without an HOA and CDD fee. You can find that here. It's not impossible, but it can be done. It's just not that easy. Um, if you're looking for new construction, yeah, that's just something to think about, guys. I know I just mentioned mortgage, but there's more to it than just how much you can afford on mortgage and how much you want to pay. You need to do your math. You need to do, like Nigel was saying, you need to do your research, and you need to write down pros and cons, and you need to have all the information. And that's why working with a local real estate agent like ourselves is so important, guys. It's so important to have someone by your corner who knows the area and who's an expert in it. Because when you're flying in blind, I'll give you guys my experience when I moved from Miami to Orlando. And I didn't go with a real estate agent when I was shopping new construction, and I can tell you that I did not have a good experience whatsoever. I'm not going to say that going through the builders is the wrong step. You can definitely do that, but I could say that I've met some real estate agents myself who I work with now, and if I could work with those kind of people who actually care and walk me through the process, and would have kept me probably better updated and everything like that, I think my process would have just been nicer. I'm not saying that the builder is full of people who are like not sincere or anything like that. You definitely will find some good people, but I will say that it doesn't hurt to have a realtor by your side. Um, our job is to help you find your next chapter in your life, and you make that decision whether you want us to be a part of that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if you agree with that, Nigel. I know you don't deal with new construction here, but that is something that a lot of people don't know, is that the builders typically pay a commission for the most part.
Hmm.
So typically, if people want to work with a realtor to help them find new construction, you pretty much have our services for like nothing. I'm not going to say that's always the case, but for the most part, it is. So there is a lot of value with having a realtor by your side when you're shopping new construction. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's definitely something that people don't see, like they don't understand the value of it. That is something to consider when you're considering a big move like this to Florida, at least.
Yeah.
Because new construction is one of the biggest things here in the state. I mean, it's one of the biggest, I would say, pushes for people to move. It's just the cost to buy into a new house versus buying a resale. I mean, some of this new construction price, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
The incentives they give you as well. The builders give you. It's You can't beat that with a resale house. It's definitely, there's a lot of good incentives out there, and I will say this, that I think this conversation has been very productive. I feel
Yeah.
like the topics that we've been touching on, people are going to have their opinions. People are going to have comments. So please comment if there's anything that we mentioned on here that you feel passionate about and you want to share what your opinions are. Please feel free to share those opinions. Again, we're not here to bash on how people feel about New York. I'm not here to make people feel like living in New York is the worst thing in the world. I don't think New York's a bad place to live. I think it's definitely has its shine to it. It's just not a place that I would see myself living in, but I could respect it because I have family that lives over there, and every time I do visit, I love visiting. I love experiencing the things that they get to do that I don't get to do here. So it's, to me, New York is like a vacation for me, vacation type vibe. Um, I can live with it for a bit, and then I just have to get back to my Florida living. You know what I mean?
I
So
hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's how I look at Florida too. I love Florida. Yeah, you dug around all the time, but I love Florida. It's so much fun. Every time we go down there, Disney World is amazing. I absolutely love it. And just to piggyback on what you said, as we get ready to wrap up, yeah, if you're somebody who's on the fence, you're maybe thinking about making that move from New York to Florida or vice versa. It's very important to have a realtor assisting you on both sides of the process. I don't think people realize how important it is, how much we do behind the scenes, and especially if this is your first time at it. There are so many things in the process um, that can that can be very, very challenging for someone to handle on their own, and you absolutely need a realtor. Like these mistakes can cause you thousands of dollars, thousands
yeah.
of dollars. So, and especially having the added benefit of being able to work with the both of us on both ends, whether you're selling in Florida and buying up here or selling up here and buying down there, having two realtors who are on the same page, that can handhold you through the entire process makes a huge difference, especially when you're talking about being in communication with the lender, with attorneys. everything is supremely easier. And that's a big value point that we add to people. You know, if you're thinking about it, you can feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information is going to be down below in the description.
Yep.
If you have questions about the process, we're here to help you. You know, no pressure. We just genuinely, both of us, just care about the people that we work with, and we just want to help you to make the process smooth because we're both guys with families who
Yep.
you know, we know how it is. We know how it is, and so we just want to help people out any way that we can.
Yep, man, and I can't agree with you further on that, man. We're here to help you find the next chapter in your life. If you're willing to trust us with that, we'd be more than willing to give you 110% of what we got to make it happen. We're both family guys. I'm definitely really about family. Um, I'm all about being honest and authentic with people. I'm never about a transaction. The transaction is not important to me at all whatsoever. What's more important to me is being able to be a value of someone and to help change someone's life for the better. I truly believe in helping people. Brings more value than a dollar. A dollar can buy you nice things, but seeing someone smile when they buy a house, or seeing that happiness of fulfillment, no money can buy that. No transaction could pay for that type of feeling or emotion or being able to witness it. No money can buy you that. So I value that more than anything else in the world. So if that is something that resonates with you, we are two type of realtors that care about that. So definitely hit us up if you need help, if you have questions. Definitely no pressure. We're not gonna force you to string us along. Obviously, you have a choice in that. So we're just here to give you guys information and share with you guys our thoughts on Florida versus New York. And there's going to be more videos to come as we discuss more topics. Maybe we'll dive more into things to do in Florida versus the things to do in New York. Talk about more things um, that give each state its characteristics. I feel like we just touched base on some of the things of what they are, but we haven't dived into detail of what there is really to do here. So, yeah, man, I really appreciate the time we've put today to discuss this topic. I'm excited to see where this goes. Um, yeah,
Mm. All right, awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for everybody watching who made it this far. Feel free to drop a comment down below, reach out to us, follow us on social media. All of our socials are down below. And yeah, if there's anything that you want us to make a video about, any questions, feel free to let us know in the comments. All right, take care.